Hello, all. Welcome back to Between the Ropes TV. Today we are joined by Tommy Frank after his big win at the weekend at the time of recording. Obviously, the British title fight win. Tommy, how are you doing, mate?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. Yeah, thank you for having me on, boys. I appreciate it.
Oh no, honestly, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
No, thanks ever so much for coming on. So, we're going to get straight into it here, Tommy. Saturday night, your big win, Sheffield's first British Flyweight Champions. That's like a special piece of history for you. Talk us through how that feels and the fight in general.
I'll be honest, mate. I can't quite just believe it yet. Look at that. Look at that.
That's a thing of beauty, that is.
It is, mate. It is. I've just.
I'd never take it off.
I haven't stopped looking at it, to be honest with you. I'm just absolutely mesmerised by it. It was just a fantastic night, from start to finish. I think I said on my post-fight interview, probably best night of my life so far. It really was. It was just a big night for me, for my family, for my gym, for my city, for everyone. So yeah.
No, definitely. I was going to say, I was literally going to say, I bet you've not took that belt off or haven't stopped looking at it since. I know I wouldn't if I had the opportunity. Sadly, I won't.
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't. We went to like a little after fight party. All my friends and family were there, were brilliant. And then me and my fiance, we got back home. Maybe about 3:30 or something like that, and I was just sat on settee with it on my knee, just staring at it. I just couldn't believe it had actually happened. So yeah, it's been great since then. And like I said, I've been just ferrying it around everywhere I've gone and seeing my sponsors and having pictures, and it's been brilliant. It's been brilliant.
No, definitely.
No, fantastic. It really is a massive achievement, mate. When we saw the news, I thought I've got to reach out to you and try and get you on. So brilliant, mate. It really is. So, we move back and sort of it's even more impressive, to be honest, when obviously your couple of fights previous, you've had some hard fights, you coming off a couple of losses. And obviously you also had quite a sort of bad shoulder injury sustained in one of those fights as well. So, how is the shoulder now? Is it all good?
Yeah, the shoulder's 100% healed up, and I owe a massive thank you to one of my sponsors, Lisa Bailey, LB Sports Therapy. She's my physio. I see her once a week. I've worked with Lisa for years now anyway, but especially after, the first fight with Glyn Rhodes in December, when my shoulder went, I had to do so much like rehab and just really, really training the muscles back up to get them strong again. So, it was very, very tedious at times. I had to take a lot of extra care into, putting a lot of effort into my shoulder and doing all the exercises, as well as just normal training as well. So that was challenging, physically, challenging mentally. But I just believe that whole experience has just made me a 10 times stronger fighter and a stronger person, really. Just going through that, ticking that box. So yeah.
No, fantastic. Obviously, now you've had this great level of success. You've been with your trainer a long, long time now. How vital is that relationship? To get to this point where, it's a great milestone, is it? So, how crucial has that relationship been?
Yeah, me and Glyn, and obviously Matt Mowat from Sheffield Boxing Centre. I met them when I was like 12, 13 years old. When I first walked into Sheffield Boxing Centre, and I wouldn't say that I was particularly, naturally talented. If you looked at the bunch of kids who I was training with, I'd probably be the last one you'd pick that had ever, go on to do something. So it just shows you, what hard work does, and determination, and basically I think it's just down to how bad you want it. But going back to my relationship with Glyn and Matt and and everyone at Sheffield Boxing Centre. I'm just very, very proud because I think especially nowadays in boxing, proper loyalty is quite rare. So I think if you can start with the team and then go all the way through the amateurs, turn professional, all the way through professional and winning British titles and Commonwealth titles and things, I just think it's something that I'm really, really proud of. And we're not finished yet. We're not finished yet, but this is it's a major achievement, for us all because I'm Glyn's first ever homegrown British champion. Glyn's been involved with British champions and he's worked the corners, with Errol Bomber Graham and Richard Wenton, and he's had fighters, fight for the title. But I'll be the first, actual from boy to man to actually win a Lonsdale belt with Glyn. So something I'm very, very proud of, and I know I can tell Glyn's proud. I've spent last few days with him, so it's just an amazing thing.
And I bet it made it even more sweeter, as you say. Obviously that relationship that you've had all the way through. Obviously the fact that you didn't have to change trainers, you've stuck loyal with that, and I bet it just feels like a win for all, doesn't it? Which kind of, I imagine, adds that extra enjoyment from it. You kind of celebrating it with your day ones, I suppose, is the phrase.
Yeah, it's right. It does. It makes it so much sweeter. I think fighters nowadays, they jump the gun too much and ditch the trainers after they lose fights and things like that. But I think that's not always necessarily the way to go. I think if things are going not quite to plan, or you lose a fight, I think firstly you need to look in the mirror and just kind of say to yourself, am I doing everything I can? And it's not, you don't really need to blame everyone else sometimes. And I know it sounds daft, but I look at a trainer boxer relationship. It's a bit like marriage, in some respects. You don't get married and then get a divorce after your first argument. That's not what it's about. I mean, me and my fiance, we get on great, but every now and again, like every other couple, we have a bit of a barney. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, definitely.
And then you sunk for a little bit, and then you start talking, and then you just get on with it and move forward. So it's kind of like being a boxer and a trainer. You don't always see eye to eye, or you might have little fallouts, but it's not the end of the world. It's like a working relationship, and you patch things up and you get stronger, you move on. So I think I think fighters should be a bit more loyal, these days, and not always look to point the finger and blame and ditch the trainers. So yeah.
I do think sometimes with boxing, people think it's only the person in the ring, but it can be seen as a team sport, because I imagine you come out from a bad round, your trainer's the one getting you in the spirit to go back out and tells you how to dominate that next round. Yeah,
100%. Something else I'm so blessed to have a corner team like I do, because you look at the normal corner team we have. You've got Glyn Rhodes, Matt Mowat, Sam Sheedy, John Fuchs, and Andy Manning was in the corner on Saturday, and they've all boxed amateur and professional. So you're literally talking about hundreds of fights between them. So when I come back to the corner and it's like end of round 10 and I'm feeling it and I've got 2 more rounds, when Glyn's saying to me, look, come on, just dig in, I know he's been there. So he's not asking me to do anything that he's not done. So that fills you with a sense of confidence, So I'm very, very blessed that I've got such an experienced corner team and training team. I really am, appreciative of that.
Yeah, well, equally, I mean, obviously, it's great to hear, a fighter say, the corner team is just as important as me. It's refreshing. But obviously, just as importantly, the promotion side of things. Obviously, you fought on the Dennis Hobson card on Fight TV. And, that's quite an exciting little stable that they've got going there. Dave Allen's doing stuff with him, Cash Ali, who obviously boxed Saturday night. Jack Massey's there as well. How big do you see this going forward? I mean, I know as fans, we're sort of taking more and more notice of what, Dennis Hobson are doing now and on Fight TV. Do you think, is it the right platform for you going forward now? Obviously, you've got the British title. Obviously, it'll be on to, big fights for you now. Is this the right way?
Yeah, well, obviously I mentioned about, starting from day one with Glyn and Sheffield Boxing Centre, but I also started day one with Dennis and Fight Academy, so Dennis, my manager, working with Steve Crump, they've brought me through, guided my career. And again, we've achieved this together, and I said this the other night, but you can say what you want about my last couple of fights, one being the injury, one, split decision, whatever. But no matter what way you look at it, I was coming off 2 back-to-back defeats. So for me to come off that and for Dennis to still show faith in me by pushing and by getting me this opportunity over the line, which thankfully I've took with both hands, that just shows. Excuse me, that just shows the kind of team I've got around me and that belief. And again, it makes me really proud that I've achieved this. And like I've said, we're not finished achieving yet. And the whole thing, Dennis and Fight Academy, and obviously with them launching Fight Zone, it's just a brilliant platform. It really is, because you've over the last 3 or 4 months now, you've been seeing brilliant fights. You've been seeing kids coming through who you might not have necessarily seen, because they're still early in their careers. They're not signed with Frank or Eddie, so you wouldn't have been seeing them on Sky or BT, and they're actually getting airtime. They're getting airtime, so it looks good for their sponsors. It looks good for the people buying tickets. It's getting the names out there. The followings on social media. There's so much positives that comes from all of this, and me personally, I'm very privileged, because I'm at the level now where I've got a British title and there's potentially very big fights on the card. So obviously Dennis, if the opportunity comes up and he has to work with Frank or Eddie to get to secure me big fights, that's what he'll do. So to be honest with you, the Fight Zone platform, it's more for the guys that are coming through that wouldn't otherwise get that exposure, and now they're getting it. Now they're getting it. Boxing fans are happy because there's another platform. Sorry, guys,
that's all right. It switched back. That's brilliant.
So for the other guys coming through, they've got a platform, and it's brilliant for boxing fans, to subscribe to Fight Zone, and it's brilliant value for money. £4.99 a month, and they're putting on a live show every weekend, sometimes 2. So it's it's value for money. It's more boxing for the boxing fans, and it's just positives all around. So hats off to Dennis and Fight Academy and all the other managers all over the country who is working with, putting these shows on.
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, as you say, the deals with, obviously the deals that could come through with Eddie or Frank. It's great that, obviously Dennis could still lead on those. It's great that you're sticking with him as well. And I think it's great. There's definitely a feeling of just loyalty all around in within your camp. And I think that's, at the same time, that's, definitely probably helped you at the same time as well, I imagine.
Yeah. And we're all from Sheffield. We're all day one Sheffield, going on a journey. So how special would it be if we all end up in Vegas one day making memories? Me and Glyn and Dennis, we often talk about things like that. But I mean, that's the future. That's exciting. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, though. Yeah.
No, there you go. It would be amazing, though, mate. One thing we do ask our guests, and we're not obsessed with it, but we're very interested in it. How do you go about making weight? Obviously, you box at flyweight, so I imagine you have to be pretty disciplined with your diet. I mean, just talk to us a little bit about that process, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, often one of the first things people said to me is, "Wow, you're big for a flyweight." And you know, I actually started my career boxing at super flyweight. That's what I won the Commonwealth at, and I think the WBC international title. They were at super flyweight, and then what happened was it was around it. It was all to do with the fight that actually never happened. You know, I was scheduled to fight for the IBO flyweight world title, but before that, I needed to get a ranking in the IBO. So Dennis, he set up the IBO Intercontinental title fight, which I won against Mexican Martin Tequapetla. So that was going to be at flyweight. So I mean, originally I didn't actually think I could make flyweight. I mean, I knew that it was an opportunity. It was I couldn't really turn it down. But obviously, with me boxing at super flyweight and being strong, I didn't want to take anything away from my performance. So I got in touch with a nutritionist called Lee Rickards, and he was the chef. Well, he still is the Sheffield United first team nutritionist.
Okay.
So I started. Working with Lee for probably my last. I think I did about three fights with Lee, and I wasn't doing anything majorly wrong, because even like outside of training for a fight, I like to look after myself. I enjoy training, and to be honest with you, like nutrition is something I'm really, really interested in. So I'm actually thinking about doing a course in it and getting some qualifications, because it really does interest me. So like I said, I'm very grateful to Lee. He taught me just a few tweaks what maybe I were missing, and basically 99.9% of fighters will tell you it's never easy making the weight, but you've just got to make sure you're doing it as easy as possible and as safely as possible. So although it might be hard for me to make flyweight, I always do it safely. And the main thing is, now I know what I'm doing, I can get the fluids and everything back in me to rehydrate properly. So come fight night, I'm like a different man. I really am. I'm big and I'm strong and I'm fit at the weight. And Saturday night, I mean, honestly, I'm not just saying it. I told Glyn after, but I felt so fit during that fight. I really did. To be honest with you, I can remember Andy Manning. And in between rounds, like probably every other round, he was screaming in my ear, "Breathe, breathe," because I was just I was basically like I am now talking to you, just sat in the corner. So, my fitness were really good. And to be honest with you, I think that's a lot to do with my nutrition and the way that I make weight. So I'm not taking that much out of me. And the little bit I am taking out of me to make weight, I'm then getting it back in me and, fueling up. So it's, but to be honest with you, I think when it comes to food and diet and people helping you with that, that's a very, very positive change what's come about in boxing, because more so for safety than anything. I think fighters, back in the day probably were drinking, a pint of water during fight week to make weight, and now it's like the complete opposite. Some of the things that the guys are telling you to do now are brilliant, and fighters are able to make the weight safer, refuel, and then be ready to fight on fight night. So it's a very, very positive change.
Yeah, definitely. I think when we've had Alan Lee on before, and one of the things he would say, because he was saying, it was hard for him to make weight, and obviously, he was a fighter, obviously before the times of now, and he would say that literally, like, you'd go in the ring probably feeling like 60% of yourself. So I think that's really important how it's developed. It means the fighters can go in there feeling closer to 100%, and obviously it means you get to see you guys at your best as well.
Yeah, of course, exactly. Boxing's a weight making sport. It always has been, it always will be. You can't get around that. So I think what you've got to do is, make it as easy for yourself and make weight the best that you can, because then you're just giving yourself the best the best chance to, like you said, perform on the night to your 100% to your ability. That's it.
No, you're absolutely bang on there. So we're just going to move away from sort of boxing necessarily. Obviously, you're an ambassador for Heart Research UK. And, I just wanted, obviously, it's important to you. Obviously, we've done a bit of research, so we know why. But I just wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about, the charity, why it's important to you and what they do. It's important to sort of put as much attention on these sorts of things as possible.
Yeah. So I've worked with Heart Research UK in the past, and I'm very happy to say I'm starting to work with the British Heart Foundation as well, and do some things with them. And I think it's a lot of people know that I was born with a hole in my heart, which I actually had. I had open heart surgery when I was 5, and thankfully I went on to make a full recovery.
Yeah.
Ended up getting involved in boxing, like I said, when I was 12 and 13, and I'm very fortunate that I've been successful so far in boxing, and my profile's been rising gradually, and I'm just very, very grateful and blessed to say that I'm in a position to be a role model, and it's something that it makes me so proud. I can't tell you, because it's something I've literally always dreamed of doing, and especially these days I get some amazing messages off kids that have had the same condition as me or similar, or had to have heart surgery, or they're actually living with ongoing conditions, and just them saying that they're looking up to me, and I'm like inspiring them. And it's just such a lovely, warm feeling, to be able to make someone's day, basically. And these are people that live all over the country, some even all over the world. I've never met them, but my goal as well as boxing is to be heavily involved with art charities like the British Heart Foundation, and just basically to use the position that I'm getting myself in to be a role model and to give back, and I'm basically the proof. I'm not saying that everyone has to, go out there and be a professional boxer or a professional footballer. It's not really about that, but it just goes to show you that no matter the start you have in life, because who would have ever thought when I was 5, after having open heart surgery, that I'd be sat here talking to you at 28 with a British title, So if I'm not the proof that you can still follow your dreams and not really let anything hold you back, I don't know what is. Yeah.
I think even though you've reached your dreams, it's great to know that you're going to be inspiring people to reach theirs. That's got to be just as satisfying as you reaching your own. I think to be able to look back.
It is honestly, bro. Especially when I first started being successful in boxing, when I started winning some amateur fights and things, I always used to dream of, one day having titles and maybe boxing on TV, and like wearing a British Heart Foundation T-shirt after, and like looking down the camera, and maybe a little kid's at the end of that camera, and he or she's had heart surgery, or they've got a problem, and I'm inspiring them. So for me, that's just as important as doing what I'm doing in boxing. And hopefully, after my boxing career is over, I can still continue that role and help people and give back, and kind of teach people about living a healthy lifestyle, and about food and things like that, exercise. And just so yeah, that's basically what I want to do. Yeah.
No,
and sorry, just to put in, but I think it was, it was 2019. And Heart Research UK, they actually set up. I went down to Leeds General Infirmary where I had my operation. I took some belts down, and I met the kids on the wards and things like that. And I actually met the surgeon who performed my surgery.
Really?
I actually met and I had a chat to her. Her name's Karen Van Dorn. and she's still doing an unbelievably amazing job, you know, literally saving people's lives every day, saving kids' lives every day. You know, these people are amazing. So just a massive shout out to the surgeons and everyone involved with these charities.
Definitely.
No, I mean, it's a brilliant message. It really is, Tommy. I mean, I think we'll wrap it up there. I mean, thanks ever so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I mean, it's a massive achievement. I think I echo probably, you know, all British fight fans. Hats off to you, mate. And, you know, long may it continue. I think we're all excited to see what's next.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on, and thanks for supporting me. Because we are guys like you, you know, especially me. You know, I'm not really like a Twitter loudmouth or anything. So we are guys like you giving me some airtime. Nobody know what I'm doing or whatever. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
No, we're just fans who just love hearing about it, to be honest. Because you know, it's all well and good sat on the armchair, isn't it? But it's brilliant to actually hear off people. So thanks ever so much.
Yeah, it's nice to have someone on that knows what they're talking about for once.
A great story.
Nice, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, brilliant.